Hello, hello. Good afternoon on this very chilly Gainesville afternoon of the podcast, which we're finding it's not on Facebook, but luckily we are on YouTube. So if you don't see it on Facebook now and you're on YouTube, we can watch it later and we're going to share it later. So those are for those of you who are not watching this. Just kidding. Hopefully we'll get it up and running if anything. And like I said, we can watch it later. So yeah. Let's talk about today. You know what? You probably are at home, hanging out, resting, taking a day off.
No, everybody should
be
at
realtors
work.
Are not doing that, but we do know a lot of people are off for Martin Luther King's Day. So happy to celebrate that day off for you all. We are here at work, always working, because we're realtors, and we're going to talk about that later. But we kind of wondered, is it a happy day? Yeah, I think so. It's someone who had a dream, and, his dream is fulfilling, obviously, post-mortem, after death, right? So, but, that dream is becoming more and more alive for a lot of African Americans, Black people in America. So congratulations. I'd rather go with Martin Luther King's dream than most others. So, happy Monday.
And that's Kristen Rabell, and I'm Rebecca Johnson, since we failed to do the intro.
I figure people know us by now.
Yeah, that's true, probably.
Brokers of Rabell Realty Group and KNR Property Management. But this is the Rabell podcast. So we want to get into your favorite
Let's do our
time.
Monday market moment.
All right, our 4 fabulous markets.
That's right. So let's see. We'll take a look at what's happening here let's start with Tampa.
All right, Tampa.
You never know. I'm just going to...
Tampa, Hillsborough area of Tampa, right?
All right. That's right. So we do have a great little office in South Tampa, but we do serve Hillsborough and Pasco and a few other areas down there. But let's start. So as of the month of January, so we are on I believe the 17th.
Yes.
We are on the 17th. It's a full moon tonight. So if everybody's acting crazy, now you know why. So for
it's a crazy Monday. I thought it was just a Monday.
No, it's a crazy Monday. So there are 485 active listings so far for the month of January in the Tampa Bay area.
Seems pretty normal for January. In a very low inventory market.
Yes, with 1,108 pending. That's pretty incredible if you
Just
think about
in
it.
17 days.
17 days. 1,108 people have found a home with 743 closed. Pretty incredible considering the 17th day is a holiday, so nobody has closed today. So it's really 14 days.
Right. Because Saturday and Sunday we don't do closings, just so you all know. But 743 closed in 14 days, as you're saying, and 1,108 pended. Is this because Tampa's the number one market in Florida?
Could be
in that Tampa area.
City.
It's beautiful. I've been looking around, just seeing what's available, and there's a lot of really great, condos and homes available. They're just going really fast.
Yes, you have to basically be ready with your.
You had an experience this weekend, right? Let's talk about that. I know it's the Monday market moment, but let's just get that out of the way.
So, my sister sent me a home early on Sunday morning, and I looked at it and was, basically like, hey, let me move things around. I'm going to come right down, and we got to go look at this. And I guess during our showing, he must have accepted an offer, because while we were at lunch working on our offer and discussing things back and forth, it went pending. So we did submit a backup offer, and anyways, things are just crazy.
So what were things that you had to add into your offer to hopefully give it that and will you know? Or you already know?
No. It'll be later today that he'll let me know. But goodness gracious, somebody keeps calling. No, so it's basically it sounds like
clause.
They're having an open house today, but
oh my goodness, on a Monday?
I guess because people are off would be my guess.
Okay, more people are able to get in.
Yeah, he basically was like, every house that I've looked at with my sister, unfortunately, goes off the market immediately. So,
and she's not in a chintzy price range. She's in 500, 450, 550.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say what I suspect, but yeah. So we're in there. We're waiting to hear. if what's going to happen next. So,
Right.
but that's about it. But
It's a tough market.
I talked to the agents down in Tampa, and they said things go just immediately. So, we're saying a silent prayer that we'll get considered. Because I did put a call into him again today. But
All right. Well, let's check out that map for the rest of the market.
Oh, yeah. So, Ocala Marion, let's see, 259 actives for the month of January and 467 pending with 265 closed. Seems right on track.
Right, but I thought that was kind of interesting that the active and closed are right around the same. As we've seen in these three markets, not including the St. Augustine Beach area, the active was always a little less than the closed. So it looks like maybe Ocala has picked up its activity for active closings for the month of January. And we won't know until the end of January to see if it's actually was a really healthier market, and by healthier, more inventory on the market than it's been showing. So we'll get into that later again also.
Yep. And then we've got Gainesville, which I think 79 doesn't seem exceptionally low, but it does feel that way.
Especially versus like Ocala's 259.
I know, I was just looking at that.
It's closed 113. So I do know that our company has kind of lagged with getting things on the market, but some of our sellers are waiting until February.
Yes, I know we've got people that have been calling, and this is kind of interesting. They're calling us earlier on to list further out. So homes are coming. It's just we're not hitting the market. Usually people call us, we come out, we list the property, and it's on the market immediately. Now they're calling, it's taking several months to get onto the onto the market, not onto the property, as they're cleaning things up.
Well, also for us, it's like a lot of these houses are rented or condos are rented, and they're waiting because of rules with other property management companies. Anyone else other than the property manager cannot go in the property until 60 days prior to them moving out. So you've got to wait for it anyways, and that's what our issue has been on our side. So the two videos today are actually homes that are coming up on the market fairly soon. So don't forget to watch the last one as well. So those will be coming up very soon or in February.
Yeah, the first one actually will be coming up later this evening.
Okay. I thought that was the February one.
No, February. I got one coming in February.
Then never mind. The one at the end is going to come on later this week, possibly even tomorrow.
We'll race you. We'll see if we can get ours on today. Yeah,
we have pictures.
I have to get it loaded. Yeah, we just got the pictures.
Get it loaded and write it up, and it'll be on.
We're quizzing to see if you're paying attention to the homes that are coming onto the market.
All right, let's talk about that. Or finish up with Gainesville.
I'm like, wait, where did I leave off? Okay, and 113 closed for the month of January, which I think is pretty good, except for the fact that we just need more homes to come on the market. So if you live in the Gainesville area, please call us because we definitely need homes to hit the market. Now, St. Augustine Beach area, you've got 29 active listings. Now, this is total. This is not just for the month of January.
Only, so.
Correct. 16 pending and 7 closed.
Their numbers are always a little wonky in comparison to ours.
It's a much smaller area too that we're looking at. We're just
from
looking
Volano
at
Beach down to Crescent Beach, right on the beach side. So not like Davis Shores, not other areas outside of A1A. So yeah.
All right. So that's your Monday market moment.
Cool. Well, we don't have a lot of slides today, so it's just going to be our pretty faces on here. Yay. And we're talking about a couple of different topics, real estate related and also property management related. So I think the first one is, we're going to be getting back into a market similar to what we've seen in the past 2 years. I think 2021 was a little wilder than 2020. In terms of what buyers and sellers were experiencing. And Rebecca kind of touched on that. You were telling me, whether you repeated again, is that people were standing in line waiting.
Yeah, they were.
And
I had to wait. We had an appointment for 11:30, and which it worked out. Hannah was running a little late, but we had ended up having to wait for the people before us to get out.
And then we even have a property here in Gainesville where two buyer's agents texted me, and one was like, gosh, that 11 o'clock took forever, and we had to wait. And we didn't really have strict timelines like yours in Tampa.
Yeah, it was
but even then, they were having to wait. So there are lines. And then you're having to do things to
everything
make
has
your
been a bidding
offer
war.
as
Yeah.
wonderful as possible. So we know there was quite a few things that a lot of people did. So appraisal waivers, meaning, if
No
it doesn't
appraisal.
appraise, we'll pay the difference. And so you do have, and then you have also, you're putting an offer in and you're basically bidding it up by a certain amount up to a certain price.
Escalation clause. Yep.
Just called an escalation clause. And then other people are doing certain things like either lowering their inspections periods or lowering other dates that are really necessary for things, or removing any contingencies at all. So there's a lot of people that are putting themselves at risk. And I would say there's top 3 that I would say not to do. So number 3 is, you really need to know your finances before you do an escalation clause or any type of appraisal waiver, because if you can't pay for this, then you're putting yourself in a situation where you're paying for inspections, your appraisal, your survey, and you are not able to actually close because you're not able to afford it. So I would say the third thing is to really know your numbers and really have that conversation. So don't just automatically blindsided, make an offer without consulting your financial advisor, whether that be yourself, right, or in ways your lender, and make sure you have all your ducks in a row with that. Number 2, I would say you really want to. I'm getting to number 1, and number 1 is the biggest in my mind. But do you have another really big thing that people should do?
I know what your number 1 is, and I agree with it. So I don't want to.
What about your number? Do you have a number 2?
I would say don't shorten your loan approval dates. I've seen that, and honestly, I've had conversations where I'm like, "What's the fastest you can do it?" But the problem is that the appraisers have
and the
to
surveyors.
pick it up. Appraisers and surveyors.
And your insurance agents.
Right. All have to pick it up and do their portion. So while your lender might be able to do a conventional 20% down in 22 days, because you're attempting to compete with cash offers, I wouldn't do it because it's too risky and you're dependent upon too many other people to do their job quickly to get yours.
So it's kind of come down to dates, right? So the number 1 thing that you don't want to do and don't want to risk is foregoing your inspection period. Now, shortening it, typically in Gainesville and these other areas, 15 days is actually in the contract. Now, as is, it's not in there, you have to type it in, but on the residential contract, it's 15 days. So 15 days is normal, but in this market, and especially higher markets like Tampa, like really, really crazy markets, they're not only removing, the dates at all, but just not having them. And I think that is the number 1 buyer mistake.
And I called a couple of inspectors yesterday, and they were nice enough to chat with me, but a lot of them are 5 to 10 days out. Mm-hmm. So even shortening is a risk, which I appreciate as a listing agent when people bring in a shorter, 5 to 10 day inspection period, if you could get the inspection booked. But I remember times last year that we were having to wait 2 or 3 weeks to get an inspection because they were so busy. So it's, it really is unfortunate.
But there's so many out there. There's so many inspectors out there that buyer's agents can find them. So if you can get at least a 5 to 7 day inspection period and take advantage of that, the best realtors are already going to have, like, once they make an offer, before getting the response back, they're going ahead and trying to schedule the inspections. And we have a couple of people, each of us that are, do a lot of work, have a couple of people that we can just text really quickly and have like 2 or 3 of them just, down on our calendars, and we can, trade them, give them to other realtors, give them back to the inspectors, but already have that scheduled so that you can have an inspection. And I would say, do not forego your inspections. It's a great way to get a listing, or a listing under contract, but it's not a great way to buy a property. It's just not the best thing that you can do. And you will have agents that say get rid of everything. I had an agent actually from Texas who called and said, she wanted a referral and work with me as a referral agent. And she said, put an offer on this property and don't have, let's remove all of the inspection contingency. And I actually spoke with the buyer and got him a 5-day inspection, and we're getting in on Tuesday. So, we still found a way to get in. He was very thankful. I was sitting there, helping him and making sure that he was able to get an inspection. But that's just a really important way to buy a house, is to know what you're getting into. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting experience working down in Tampa. I mean, just from people holding properties off the market not off the market, but on the market for 2 weeks to collect offers and gather things. And they're experiencing a lot of what we are, where people are coming in from out of town, purchasing quick or putting under contract quickly and then canceling during the inspection period, which is making them wary of inspection periods. So it's just kind of like a weird situation.
That's why I think 5 to 7 days is, if you have to cancel within 5 to 7 days because of an inspection, that, in the seller, it's a seller's market, right? We've talked about this a lot, the seller's market, and they're saying they're not going to do any repairs. You've given them 5 to 7 days, and you're not taking 15 days, but you're still giving yourself the ability to see if this house was worth purchasing
at
the
if
price
you're
that
not
you're
a cash
purchasing.
offer, though, it certainly feels like an uphill battle.
Yes, it does. It does.
So no matter how much or how quickly you've got everybody kind of lined up, it definitely feels like if you're not cash, it's tough.
It is, right. All right. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back and talk a little bit about property management.
Welcome to the town of Newberry, located just 8 miles west of I-75, with a population of 6,000 residents. Newberry gains its attraction as a small rural town outside of Gainesville, close enough for those who commute into town for work. Newberry's small downtown area includes restaurants, shops, markets, Newberry High School, Oakview Middle School, government offices, churches, and all the things you'd expect in a small town. Newberry is also home to several sports complexes, such as Champions Park, Easton Newberry Sports Complex, and Gatorback Cycle Park, a national landmark for the sport of motocross. The town of Newberry continues to grow, with its new neighborhood developments including Newberry Corners, Oak Park, Newberry Place, and many more. Please visit buysellrebell.com to search for your new home in Newberry.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. We did find out just now that Facebook streaming's down. So if you're on later on Facebook and watching this, that's why it was not on live. But YouTube is always up at rebellpodcast.com. So you can always find us there if you can't find us on Facebook for future. Well, let's talk a little bit about property management. That seems to be your thing these days. And there was a really interesting question. I think the answer is very quick, honestly.
Yes.
But the question is,
a little bit about it.
Yeah, what can I do if my roommate won't pay rent?
Well, it kind of depends on the situation. So I'm just going to use K&R as an example, since that's the one I am most familiar with. So at our company, it is policy for all of our tenants that if you have somebody that is occupying the property more than 72 hours per month, they are living there. So they need to be on the lease with you. Now, in these situations,
And that actually protects all of you.
Yeah, it does. What happens is if somebody is living on the property with you, they are sharing the responsibility of the rent. So, and I'll tell you how it's good for our owners, or how it benefits our owners. We're in Gainesville primarily, property management wise. So we have a lot of student type properties where multiple students are living in the same property. They might need guarantors. They might need people to help if they, depending obviously, because they might be 18, 19 years old, not have the credit and stuff to get their own rental. So I kind of look at it as the more people on the lease, the more shared responsibility and the better for the owner, because the more people are on the hook.
Plus, you can only, we as landlords or property managers, can only collect from those on the lease.
Correct.
So if you have someone living with you, like she's saying, more than 72,
that's our policy, more than 72 hours in a month. Then, and it's not on the lease, you're technically the landlord. So you're the one who has to so-called evict them and make sure that they pay, not the property manager, because they're not on there. Now, in our way, that's violating our lease. Right. It's violating the lease and everybody goes. So when you rent a property, typically you report to the credit bureaus, which is great for a tenant who is working on building their credit and saying, I pay my rent on time. I've been here for 3 years. You can see that I am a good renter because we have to report all these things back through. Thankfully, our software kind of does all that now. But you want people that are living with you on the lease. And it's kind of funny to me because I see situations where couples are like, oh, I'll just be on the lease. No, you both want to be on the lease. That way, if there's an issue or a friend, somebody that's your friend, this is the most common thing. We're friends. She's just going to pay me my half and I'm going to pay the rent. You guys get in a fight, then you can't afford the rent. They're not paying, so you can't re-rent the room out. So you really want them to be on the lease with you because it takes a little bit of that off of you, but it also is good because then everybody's got a shared responsibility. But yeah, so in the situation, it depends. Who's on the lease? Whoever's on the lease is on the hook. If you've got somebody living there and they're not paying the rent and they're not on the lease, they're not really on the hook. So,
and you don't want your credit to be affected by, the landlord sending your information to the credit bureau.
Plus, we're going to find out.
You can, right. And you're honestly going to have to pay the difference, but, we can call them into the credit bureau and affect their credit. And so it affects them in the future. So you always want to pay your lease anyways.
Yes, pay your bills. But yeah, so, and it's not like your landlord is dumb and not going to figure it out because we do inspections and stuff. So we could tell if somebody's living there, if I show up and there's I'm just going to say a man's clothing everywhere and toiletries everywhere, we're going to ask you, hey, is this person living here? Mm-hmm. Doesn't look like it's only, 3 days worth of clothing or 4, So, and we're not terrible landlords to where I've had people where they have a new baby and they say, my mom's coming for a week or two to help. And we're like, right. Okay, as long as you've alerted us, we understand that and we'll work with you on it. But, so.
Yeah. So being candid and honest to your landlord is probably going to help you more than keeping anything secret.
Yeah, don't be secret. Mm-hmm. We figure it out.
Right, we'll find out.
I'm not going to tell you how we figure things out, but we figure it all out.
All right, so this is kind of an exciting topic for me. So, because I like to talk about this with people, what does it take in a way to become a realtor or to be a realtor? And this is actually from an article, 22 Truths, and this for other real estate agents. Your real estate recruiting broker may have left out. So we're going to go through as many of them as possible because I think it's really fun to talk about this. If you're looking to get into real estate, these are some things that we want you to know so that you are picking the correct career or really understanding the real estate career. So number one, being a real estate agent is not about selling houses. Well, it's not just about selling houses, right? So it's about building a business. And there's many different ways of building a business, right? So for us, we opened a brokerage and we have a team and we have a property management company. And there's a lot of other realtors out there or brokers out there that have other sources of income through their real estate career, like owning properties, right? Renting properties, becoming landlords to their own properties. At our company, only K&R Property Management can be the landlord, not anyone else, unless
Correct.
It's your own. But you really do have to build a business in it, right? It's not just about going and showing houses all the time, which a lot of realtors end up doing, and it kind of can, wear you out. It is probably the biggest part of building a business is building your team around you, right? Admin and team like that. So I'll let you take the next one. It's not like HGTV.
Oh yeah, I mean, I enjoy those shows in the right setting. So getting nails done or something. I enjoy watching those, but I don't watch them regularly. I always think it's interesting. How they show them 3 or 4 homes and then they pick one. And it's, a great home. Inspections are fine. I feel like, I think I was telling you actually on the way here, real estate is like a puzzle to me. Only you don't have the box and there's definitely pieces missing. And so you don't know what you're building. So you kind of have to work with it because each deal is different. People are different. The lender is different each time, typically.
The personalities are different. Yep.
The house, the market. So everything is kind of different. You've got all these different players. You've got different appraisers and inspectors and, buyers and buyer's agents and selling. And, it's all very different. So you just don't know what you're going to get until you sit down and like look at it. So it's not like HGTV. You don't show up in your shiny shoes and show 3 homes. I mean,
yeah, and you're probably, I think a big part of me when I'm meeting with buyers and showing them homes, I'm not showing them homes and looking at the homes with them. I'm actually watching their reactions. So the next go around, if there is a next go around, which there usually is, I'm making sure I'm picking the best houses for them and not a bunch of houses that they really, that they've chosen based off of criteria that they're probably not even going to buy off of. So really seeing their reactions to things so I can gauge the right questions, right? And, find out if any of these are the right one for them, or if they're not, knowing what to pick out from them for the next time. So the next one is that there's a significant lag between starting and actually getting a paycheck, which is true. I remember when I started, there was a broker who told me you need to have 6 months worth of, money in the bank so that you can have a cushion. And it is true. We do have a lot of realtors that come in and they're like, I'm going to start right now. You don't realize how much it is to start. And then you're not going to get, yes, there are realtors who do this, but on average, it's going to take
most people don't.
Right. It's going to take you 3 to 6 months to get your first closing. And it's okay if you take 3 to 6 months. We've had realtors that taken a year and now they're great realtors. We've had realtors who closed their very first month, and some are great and some, did not continue that. But you do have to realize there's a lag. And so in that lag, you're probably learning on how to speak to others about your real estate career. And you're doing a lot of little menial tasks. You might be following around someone. You might be just looking at houses yourself, but it's time that you have to spend until your first closing, because even your first offer is not going to be
right. If you wrote an offer on your first day and it was accepted, you'd still be looking at a 30 to 45 day pay period typically.
Exactly. Right.
So you got to have some money in the bank.
Right. All right. Brokers want their money up front.
That's true. Who doesn't? I don't know.
We stay in business because we are the business. You have to hold a license with us. Depends on where you are. There's a transaction fee, there's a desk fee, there's fees of getting that they may pay for you that you have to pay up front. I would say you do need to know that it's not just the broker, it's going to be the association, it's going to be all of your dues for your super key, for your association, for your MLS. So again, it does cost quite a bit of money to start up. And I would say between $3,000 and $4,000 for startup, right? Including your classes and your tests. So yeah. Number 5, this is more so for a non-team, but in some ways for a team member also. But once you've signed, you're basically on your own. You want to get into that one?
Yes. Like at Rabell, we have trainings that you can come and attend so that you don't feel alone. But yes, real estate is definitely a self-starting, independent work environment. A lot of people don't come into the office, even though they're encouraged at ours. And they choose to kind of be a lone wolf in a lot of ways.
I think what sets us apart at Rabell Realty Group is that we have things called the morning huddles, which is on the phone. We also have our weekly labs, which are really more of our meetings. And then we have other ways that we can get together so that it doesn't feel so lonely. But other brokerages, they'll put you in a class for 2 weeks and then you're on your own. But really, we do try to cultivate this team atmosphere, even if you aren't on the team and you're just at the brokerage, so that you can come in and be involved and talk with others so that you don't feel so alone. And our morning huddles are 3 days a week, and it's really talking about your experiences, listening to others, chiming in on, what you've been doing, asking questions about, what you can do. And so it's a really great way to continue to communicate and to continue to train in some ways, and get advice from other realtors and from your 2 brokers. So I think that's a really nice thing that we offer to our agents. Number 6, you will not automatically get access to free leads. Well, there is no such thing as a free lead, right?
Correct.
It depends again if you're on a team or not. So don't forget, you're going to have to get out there and really hustle and talk with people, let everybody know. What do you think the best way to SOI is a sphere of influence? So
That's the best way to get leads.
Yeah. So what's the best way to what are some things that you have to tell people to,
Tell people that you're in real estate. Wear your name tag, send letters.
Wear your name tag, right?
Yeah.
Get a couple T-shirts, get the
secret
logo,
agent.
go to Logo Kick and put your company, put Rabell Realty Group on some shirts that you love to wear and wear those around. Jackets as well, sweatshirts, whatever you wear, get some cups, get some cards. Yeah, this is our K&R cups, but have your cards. I mean, cards are a day of the past, but what we love to do is get a bunch of Rabell Realty Group pens with our and tie them up in a cute little bow and put, your card on it and then take it to some local companies, restaurants and other places that
love pens.
Everybody loves pens because, you always lose a pen. I mean, there's pen stealers all the time like me. I'm a pen thief. I'll go in and I'll accidentally walk out with the pen. There's somebody walking out. If you have your own pens, which again, that's your self-marketing, you're having to put money up front. But if you have your information on there and they have your pen, they will always have that. But then also at the restaurant, they love that. And then they'll remember you and maybe name, a food item after you.
That's only in the Hale Village.
Let's go. Not all realtors make tons of money.
That's true. The average used to be that a realtor would make about $25,000 a year.
Yeah, I think
I don't know if that's still true.
I know it didn't say it in here, but I looked back at another one from 2014. It said 47,000 was the average
Okay,
national.
so it went up since we started.
But still, I mean, are you going to leave your job with benefits and insurance to go where you make 47,000 to go make 47,000 as a realtor? No, I hope not. I hope what you're doing is increasing at least twice as much, but it just means work. I think one of the biggest things is it has to do, and I thought it was on here, but it has to do with your schedule and your time.
Yes, a lot of people think that real estate people just work whenever we want.
Yeah.
We don't. We work all the time.
Yes, I mean, the whole thing that, your schedule right here, it will not be as flexible as you think. So there are a couple things that realtors are people who want to become realtors that say to me all the time. One of them is, I just love looking at houses. And I think we kind of went over that. You're not looking at houses. You're gauging people. I think we wear a lot of hats. Like we're firefighters because we're putting out fires. We're psychologists. We're therapists. We're psychoanalysts. Anything that has to do with psychoses of
We're basically
humans.
Psychos now.
Right. We're psychos that deal with other psychos. The crazy can always help the crazy. No, I mean, you're really helping someone decide on, if you have an investor, it's not really their biggest investment, but most of the time it's a home buyer, whether it's their first time or their 10th time, and they're buying something that's huge. That's a lot of money. And yes, the return on investment can be huge for them as well. But a lot of people are a little, freaked out about this. They don't want to make a bad deal. They want the best deal as possible. They want to be able to afford it. You're there having to work with them. But schedule time, how many times has a buyer called you late at night or a seller called you late at night? Eventually, in order not to go crazy, you do have to time block and set standards for yourself. But you will not be as flexible as you think. You won't be able to hang out with your kids and go to the park all day long. And actually, that's a good thing, right? If you're really busy, you're too busy for golf, that means you're probably, doing really well in real estate and making some money. And then you can take, small trips with your family or large trips with your family throughout the time because you're time blocking and have a really enjoyable life. We'll do great. One more. How about you see which one you want to say?
Oh man, they all look terrible. Let's see. Oh, well, that's interesting. You're a statistic that it's a lot more paperwork than you think. So I'm actually going to touch on the paperwork.
Yeah.
So buying a home has a lot of paperwork. And being a realtor, so just because you brought up I like to look at pretty homes, that is like a very small percentage of the job, like maybe 10% of it. The rest of the time you are writing offers, running CMAs, looking through the MLS, doing basically paperwork, which is great because you could do paperwork from anywhere.
Yes.
I've done it from the beach. I've done it from the mountains. I've done it everywhere. Done it in the air, actually. Flying home from Scotland.
And if you have really great apps with programs, you can do it from your phone anywhere as well. So
true.
Not just your laptop.
So it's flexible in that sense, but you do have to work. And then the statistic, it's true. It's a math-based profession. We're always adding, calculating, dividing, multiplying things up. So you are one of 3 million, realtors. Mm-hmm. So you are kind of a statistic in that way. It's how much, who how much you sold, and how good you are at your job. So.
But we want to end this on a high note, right? being in real estate, I think I liked how you said it was a puzzle and everybody's different. Everything is new. Your day is never going to be the same.
Oh, no, it's
so
always
if you
exciting.
are tired of sitting in a cubicle from 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 and you have your lunch hour at 1 hour and you get up and you go to the printer and you have your little red stapler, it is not that at all. You don't even understand, the jokes of the office anymore after quite a few years in real estate, because you're not beholden to one place. You're not in an office all the time. You're actually in your car more. You're running around. You're meeting a lot of really great people. I remember when I was younger, I didn't really know, even though my dad was in real estate, I didn't know a lot of people with a ton of different professions. And now I feel like I know someone in almost every profession. And that's what's really cool. You have great conversations. You always, as a realtor, your best realtors will have the best plumbers, electricians, handyman, AC people, these vendors, these tradespeople. And so I love that as a homeowner. I can just call up the people I use all the time. So I don't know. I think it's a great, if you love
Rolodex of gold.
Yeah. If you love people, if you are a little ADD, but still have a great way of, keeping on schedule, it's a great career for you. And if you like to make money and, show houses, but also buy houses and, get into investments, it's a fantastic career. So with that being said, let's get into our ending slides and we'll talk a little bit more about that.
All right. So if you are tired of being the leasing agent, the accountant, the repairman, the inspector, and the landlord, you can call us and we will take care of all of that for you. The phone number is 352-213-6410. Wait till I get off the air, back in the car, and I'll call you back.
All right. If that was not terrifying and actually a little exciting for you, those last 10, 15 minutes, why don't you email us at join@buysellrebell.com. We'll tell you even more about what it's like to be a realtor and get into real estate. Or if you want to join a team because you don't want to be alone all the time, or join Rabell Realty Group because you don't want to be alone again all the time. Again, join@buysellrebell.com.
And if you are looking to get social with us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and YouTube.
Woohoo.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe our page. And look, that's never down like Facebook is. Knock on wood. And did you know we have a blog? Well, we do. We talk a lot and write a lot about our markets, the real estate market, where we work, and just local events, great things about all of our marketing areas.
And we would like to thank the Fiesta Media for the production of this podcast.
Yay.
If you're interested in your own podcast, you can reach them at 352-327-5089.
All right. Thank you. Happy MLK Day.
Oh, I was like, MLS Day?
We could have that day too. We're realtors. We can do what we want.
That's true.